Speaking of upcoming horror, what do you guys think about Evil Dead Burn? I'm excited about it. I'm an Evil Dead fan. I think I got my, you can't see it off camera, but I've got my Book of the Dead right here. Let me open the pages. It's pretty cool. Look at that. I can almost feel or not feel, but I can almost hear the recording as I'm looking through this book. And I also have the DVD that came in the Evil Dead case. Let me see. I'll show you guys that one too. I have to move this out of the way. Bonus cool points if you can name what movie this is from. Okay, this is the 20-something-year-old DVD that I have of Evil Dead, and you can see the case is falling apart, so that's why I put it in this Ziploc bag, because the pieces were starting to fall apart. But it was one of the coolest things to get when it first came out back in the day, and the way the face looks. Look at that, and it's like 3D. Creepy Colors gets the first cool points. Phantasm, yep. And I did not buy this. I actually made this. I took you could see underneath it. This is a Christmas ornament that was clear, and I spray painted the inside silver. And then I got this like silvery paper from Michael's, and I glued it onto the front. And when I was moving, one side broke, and I had to tape it. But yeah, I had to make one of these because back in the day they weren't selling it. I'm sure you could probably buy one now, but back in the day we used to make our own little what do you call them? The word that's coming to my mind is tchotchkes, but I know that's not a universal term. Collectibles is the word I'm looking for. But tchotchkes also works. This article is from Bloody Disgusting, and it's written by John Squires. Headline reads, Evil Dead Burn, release date, cast, first looks, and everything we know. CML says, yes, Evil Dead Burn. I enjoyed the last one. I did too. It's one of the best openings of a movie in recent years. That whole sequence out at the lake was so well done. I loved everything in the apartment building too. I think what kept taking me out, one thing that took me out of the apartment building is you could tell that it was not filmed. It was meant to be set in America, but you could tell it wasn't filmed in America because there were certain elements of the apartment building that's like, I can tell this is not here. They should have just set it wherever they were filming at. It still would have worked. One of the best scores. Yes, yes, yes. Phantasm. If Tony Man is listening while he's working, somebody sampled Phantasm for a hip hop song. I can't remember who it was, but Tony Man would know. If you get a chance, type it in the chat, Tony Man. If you don't get a chance, don't get in trouble at work. Just keep on working. It's not that important. But let's get into this. Created by Sam Raimi, the Evil Dead franchise launched in the early 1980s and spawned just 3 total installments before seemingly coming to a close with Army of Darkness back in 1993. And it would be another 20 years before the franchise was heard from again. But director Fede Alvarez revived the horror classic with Evil Dead in 2013, a grueling reboot that successfully reanimated Raimi's Deadites for a new generation. I was just talking to someone about that the other day, and at first I didn't think it would work as a remake, even though technically Sam Raimi remade it himself with Evil Dead 2. But Tony Man says, Dougie Fresh, play this only at night, samples the theme from Phantasm. But we were talking about how Fede Alvarez, Evil Dead, how he used the plot point of the young lady being a recovering drug addict, and how well that was used, because when she starts to see weird things, no one believes her because she's a recovering drug addict, and therefore people see her as an unreliable narrator. And I thought that was a great plot convention to get people to stay at the cabin because they don't believe her because of her history. I thought that's pretty smart writing in my opinion. Creepy Color says, Master P, Pass the Green, ? I don't know that song offhand, so that could also have sampled Phantasm. Where was I? In the 13 years since, Bruce Campbell returned for 3 seasons of the TV series Ash vs. Evil Dead, while the Deadites unleashed their fury once again on the big screen with Lee Cronin's Evil Dead Rise in 2023. What's next from the Evil Dead franchise? We're getting not 1, but 2 which this surprises me. I thought it was just the one. Brand new upcoming movies in the coming years, the first of which will be this year's Evil Dead Burn. Here's everything we know about Evil Dead Burn. What's the release date for Evil Dead Burn? The sixth film in the horror franchise will possess theaters on July 24th, 2026. They're going for a summer blockbuster status. I almost started to say bloodbuster. That's a Freudian slip, because these Evil Dead movies, they use a lot of blood. And it's almost like a competition to see how many gallons of blood. And I believe Evil Dead, the Fede Alvarez Evil Dead, used 70,000 gallons? Was it 70,000 gallons of fake blood? It's like hard to even believe that, but that's what was written, I believe. And this is going to be released from New Line and Warner Brothers, just over 3 years after theatrical release of Evil Dead Rise. Lee Cronin's Evil Dead Rise opened to 24.5 million back in 2023 and scared up a total of 147.1 million worldwide. So those will be the box office numbers for Evil Dead Burn to beat. Who is directing Evil Dead Burn? Evil Dead Burn is directed by French filmmaker Sébastien Vanicek. I think I'm saying it right. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Apologize to French speakers. Who impressed horror fans, including Sam Raimi, with his debut feature Infested back in 2024, now streaming on Shudder. Creature feature Infested is considered by many horror fans to be one of the best spider attack horror movies of all time. And it was selected as one of Bloody Disgusting's top 15 horror movies of 2024. We wrote, quote, director Sébastien Vanicek delivers a shot of adrenaline with his feature debut, ensuring that spiders haven't lost their touch when it comes to introducing paralyzing fear, even in those not prone to arachnophobia. If you haven't checked that out, I thought it was pretty good, especially if you are into creature features. I thought Infested was pretty good. I forget what there's a French title I think is better than the American title. CML says the plot sounds like something that happens in real life. The new course for Evil Dead franchise is for Raimi and the gang to hand select up-and-coming filmmakers to put their own spin on the Deadites, which has been working exceedingly well for the Bloody Saga. If Infested is any indication, Sébastien Vanicek is going to prove to be an inspired choice for another grueling, blood-soaked reading from the Book of the Dead. Vanicek wrote Evil Dead Burn with his Infested co-writer Florent Bernard, who is starring in Evil Dead Burn. The cast for Evil Dead Burn includes Suhaila Yacoub from Dune Part 2, Hunter Doohan from Wednesday, Lucien Buchanan from The Night Agent, Tandy Wright from Pearl, George Puller from It Only Takes a Night. What is the plot of Evil Dead Burn? Plot details for Evil Dead Burn are still under wraps, but Vanicek previously said, quote, I told the studio that I wanted to make a nasty film, a film that hurts, from which you come away tested. How very French of him. If you are familiar at all with French extreme horror, I feel like all their movies are made to make you hurt. I don't know what's going on in France, where the French directors are like, I want them to feel sadness and pain when they watch my movies. Vanicek continues, I'm going to pull all the horror I have inside. It will be cathartic, and if I haven't ruined my career, and I can continue to make films behind it, I will move on to something other than horror. Okay. We expect that much like Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Burn will tell a brand new story of a new group of characters being terrorized by the savage horrors within the Book of the Dead. Is Bruce Campbell involved in Evil Dead Burn? Evil Dead creator Sam Raimi and franchise producer Rob Tapert will produce via their Ghost House Pictures. Horror icon Bruce Campbell and Evil Dead Rise filmmaker Lee Cronin executive produce alongside Rommel Adam and Jose Canas, both of whom worked on Evil Dead Rise. So he will be, it sounds like he's going to be in the capacity of a producer for this. In a recent chat with Forbes, however, Bruce Campbell noted that his direct involvement in the Evil Dead movies has become less and less as the years have gone on. Campbell told Forbes, quote, we have a meeting a couple years ago with the French director Sébastien Vanicek of Evil Dead Burn, was there to experience his first script development meeting. He turned in a 10-page treatment to say, here's my rough idea. Here's what I'm thinking. A to Z. And I think he got 20 pages of notes back. That's when I said to myself, you guys got this. I think you guys got this. I got tired of arguing points with someone who's 26 years old about story and structure and all that sort of stuff and what matters and what doesn't. So I just found out it's way better to just step back. I'm partners with the guys. Nothing else has changed. I just told them, guys, I'm actually doing my own thing now. And it takes a lot of time and attention. If I get fewer emails for approvals not clogging my timelines, that's good for me at this point. I didn't know that the director's only 26. I'm actually looking forward to that because I kind of want younger directors to get a chance to do stuff now. I feel like some of our best horror projects have come from young directors. I think Tobe Hooper might have been in his 20s when he did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think there's a few others. I can't bring some to mind, but if you guys in the chat think of any directors that were in their 20s when they made their horror movies, list them, and you'll get the point that sometimes some really transformative ideas come from young people. And I say this as an old people. Has the trailer for Evil Dead Burn been released? The trailer for Evil Dead Burn has not been released at this time. Stay tuned. Now, first look. Every first look image for Evil Dead Burn up to this point has come courtesy of director Sébastien Vanicek himself on Instagram. And it's all been behind the scenes type of stuff, including a shot of the script's cover page, a peek inside the film's Book of the Dead, and a look at the clapperboard that gave us our first official reveal of the logo for Evil Dead Burn. You can check out those first images from Evil Dead Burn below. So let me scroll down so we can take a look. There is the still of the script. It says Evil Dead Burn, written by Sébastien Vanicek and Florent Bernard, directed by Sébastien Vanicek, based on The Evil Dead by Sam Raimi. So Sam Raimi is absolutely getting a story by. Here's what their Book of the Dead will look like. Doesn't look too different from my Book of the Dead, so I'm okay with that. And then I put this picture of the clapperboard on the thumbnail because I had seen that. And it says directors there, camera, Philip Lozano. I think it says Lozano. It's hard to read. But yeah, that's the clapperboard. And there's the logo for Evil Dead Burn. Then we have another picture here. That's someone holding the clapperboard in front of the camera. And then you see Seb, his Instagram is Seb Vanicek. Is this playable? No, it's not playable. You have to view it on Instagram. So I'll leave that. I guess I'll leave this up for you guys to take a look at while I'm reading the rest of this because they have a little bit more here. What is Evil Dead Wrath and when can we expect it? Evil Dead Burn will be followed by Evil Dead Wrath, marking the first time in franchise history that 2 new installments have been in the works at the very same time. Sounds like a bit much. I don't know. They might be overdoing it. What do you guys think? The last time they did this was, well, not the last time, because I believe they did this with the Strangers movies. That last trilogy of Strangers, I think they produced, filmed those all at the same time. But I think the first time I remember them doing this was with Back to the Future 2 and 3. I think those were both in production at the same time. And I think they came, if I'm not, somebody remind me. Somebody else that's in Gen X or Elder Millennial. Is it me or did the Back to the Future 2 and 3 come out like a month apart? I feel like they came out the same summer. I'm not 100% sure. It feels like that, but it could have been maybe 2 or 3 months apart. But I feel like they came out the same year too. Oh, I did not know that. Creepy Color says Bruce is great. And Jake says Bruce Campbell's undergoing cancer treatment. I did not know that. Oh, thank you for letting me know. 7 Days says, love the background props. Thank you. These are only some of them. I have more. I'm going to figure out a way to pull the camera back further in the coming weeks so that you can see the whole setup because there's so much that's missing. I got to just do one video of just the props again because I love a good prop. CML says, if Bruce stars in this film, the horror party goes out the window. All right. Now let's learn more about Evil Dead Wrath. Writer-director Francis Galluppi, who did The Last Stop in Yuma County, is in charge of Evil Dead Wrath. We know nothing about the approach at this time, but we do have the cast. Charlotte Hope from The Nun, Jessica McNamee, or McNamee. I apologize, Jessica. It looks like McNamee from Mortal Kombat. Zach Gilford from Midnight Mass, Josh Hellman from Mad Max Fury Road, Ella Newton from Dangerous Animals, Elizabeth Cullen from Diabolic, I think it's Diabolic, and Ella Oliphant will star in Evil Dead Wrath. And then it says, stay tuned for more Evil Dead Burn and Evil Dead Wrath news. So that's that on that. Are you guys looking forward to Evil Dead Burn and Evil Dead Wrath, and are you Evil Dead fans? If I entertained you, made you smile, or helped you pass the time, please consider supporting this channel so that I can do that more. Horror channels often get suppressed and demonetized, but you can help in 3 ways: by pledging a monthly contribution on Patreon, sending a one-time tip using your preferred financial app, or you could help for free by liking and commenting for the algorithm, and most importantly, sharing this video on your social media. Thank you so much.